Hey everyone, welcome back to All Music Matters That podcast. I'm your host Brian. Join me today. I welcome some special guests from the West Coast. We got the boys from Birds Eat Bugs. That's what it was, or is it Birds Kill Bugs? It's one of those two.
Birds kill bugs.
Birds Kill Bugs. There we go. I'm off my game today too. I took some NyQuil last night. You gotta bear with me.
It's a tough name apparently.
Is that sort of thing? Yeah. Just to introduce everybody, we got Shaan, we got Shaan, Daniel, and Dean. How y'all doing today?
Hey, how are you?
We're good, thanks.
All right. And where on the West Coast are you all hailing from? I guess whoever wants to be the spokesperson for this interview.
We're in Imperial Beach, which is about as far southwest as you can get in the United States, just south of San Diego by Tijuana.
All right, sounds good. And I guess what's new recently? I guess when we were talking before we started on this, you guys had played at a show last night.
We did. We were at a local bar here in Imperial Beach called the Salty Frog, and played with 3 other bands. It was a local IB music showcase, so good times.
That sounds good. And you get to elaborate on your music here just a little bit too. But I want to welcome you guys to my podcast right here. And the way this is going to work is I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Let's get to know you more both as the musicians, but also as the individuals as well too. So, y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, ready.
All right, so Shaan, we'll start with you. So tell us your role in the group, and I guess tell us your backstory about how you became a musician.
Well, in this band, I play rhythm guitar. I sing the lead vocals and write the music, or at least the structure of it anyway. And I started playing music. I don't know. I've had an interest in music my whole life. I think I can remember as a kid, like banging on Coke bottles filled with different amounts of water to get different sounds, you know. So I've been tinkering with music my whole life. Bought a guitar when I was about 15 after a snowboarding accident. Just did a little switcheroo and traded a guy a snowboard for a guitar and never looked back.
He was a cool boarder before Cool Boarders was actually a video game. So, I guess, how bad was that accident too? Did you actually break something in your body?
It was a pretty serious concussion. It was in the days before people wore helmets.
It was the day where we were wearing the beanie hats and everything too. So
Exactly.
yeah, fair enough. And let's go to Dean. Dean, how did you become a musician, and what's your role in the group? Oh, you got your microphone muted.
I play the drums, and I started playing drums back in 7th grade, and progressed from there, playing different school bands, rock bands, and growing up in Hollywood and LA, and punk rock and heavy metal. Now, getting older, I'm playing some good old rock and roll and having fun with it.
That's pretty sweet. And actually, is he the oldest of the group? The way the beard looks, it kind of makes him look like the oldest guy.
A little bit of a giveaway.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, that's cool. And let's do Shaan.
Yes.
I guess what's your role in the group? And I guess tell us your backstory about how you became a musician.
Oh yeah. My role to play guitar, as these guys want. So I'm the lead guitar player. And my story, yeah, since I was born, I think I was so exposed to music. First the Carnatic Eastern music, and then us growing up, like, you know, with friends and families, to Western music. So there's a lot of like good musical influences in my life. So, which is great. So, and I'm enjoying it and keep enjoying it. Yeah. So mostly I would say, like, since I was a child, I was so like exposed to music and I loved it. Same thing with my kids too. I have kids, so they are also so exposed to music. Yeah, that's my story.
Well, so they don't come in and start ruining the interview here too. I always might have to cut it short, but
Yeah.
it's all good though. And lastly, Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been playing. Well, I play bass in the band. I guess that's what's left. And so I've been playing guitar since I was about 16, so about 15 years now. Picked up the bass about 5 or 6 years ago. I just mostly play music just by myself. I've never actually played any good instrument with anybody up until a few years ago when I met these guys at an open mic. My cousin ran an open mic, and he basically forced me to come out because I play bass, and there's not a lot of bass players apparently. So I came out and I met these guys, and that's where we are today. So I'm really happy my cousin forced me out, and if it wasn't for that, then I'd still just be playing music by myself in my house. So I'm very happy about it. So that's basically my story.
He would have been a one-man band if he probably going to get forced out of his house too. So I think that's the story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a different story.
Yeah, I would say bass players are in demand though too, but I think chicks take the drummer these days too. So damn,
Yeah,
I think you're in luck.
that's fine
Dean,
with
you're in
me.
luck. Hey, that's all cool too. All right, so I guess first off, who came up with the name Birds Kill Bugs? So I guess who came up with the name?
Shaan.
I guess Shaan, elaborate on the music here too. Then I guess tell us a little bit about how the band formed.
Sorry to talk over you, Brian. I'll get used to that in a second. Yeah, the band name actually, I think, came from Dean originally, and we were just thinking of band names, and he was sitting in the backyard and was watching Birds Kill Bugs, and we then said, well, that's too long. What if it was just Birds Kill Bugs? And we thought about that for a while, and we, you know, it rang true, right? Because it's just true. Birds do kill bugs, and you know, so we went with it because it was unique.
Yeah, it is very unique name.
And I guess describe the music a little bit here too. So I guess how would you describe your genre, and I guess what do y'all do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we play rock and roll music. We've got a lot of different influences, as Dean sort of mentioned. He used to play, you know, metal and punk rock. You know, I come from more of a, you know, originally I think I learned how to play guitar on an acoustic guitar and was real into like, you know, Bob Dylan and the Grateful Dead and a lot of bands like that, classic rock and roll. And so there's that influence. And then, you know, Shaan being, you know, from India brings a whole nother world influence, I think, to the band. And Junior is just, you know, he keeps the whole thing together with those bass lines. And we just try to create rock and roll music that, you know, kind of borrows from all these genres and that hopefully people like to listen to, right?
Yeah.
I guess why Junior for Dan? I guess as soon as you said it too, I was thinking Sean Connery in the Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, whenever he would say that too. So I guess why Junior is a nickname.
Yeah, Junior. Actually, I didn't even know his name was Daniel for the longest time because he was introduced to me as Junior.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. I've gone by Junior growing up, but I stopped telling people I'm Junior, and I started going by Daniel as an adult. So some people know me as Junior, some people know me as Daniel, and my cousin knows me as Junior. So that's how these guys met me like that.
I guess out of curiosity, does everybody got their own little nicknames or stage names that you all go by?
Just Junior, I think.
Yeah. I'm good with Junior.
All right,
Whichever they remember.
Whichever one I have to go by first. So, all right. So I guess, Sean, I know you were talking about influences right there with like Grateful Dead and like all those punk and rock and roll elements too. But I guess who influenced you to like for your guitar styles or vocal wise and everything too? So.
Oh man, like I said, I just love music of all kinds. And I've always gravitated, I think, towards, you know, rock and roll music and classical rock and roll music with, you know, guitar-driven music with, you know, solid vocals. I think I've probably, more than any other band I've ever seen, I've probably seen the Black Crowes, but I've also seen Fish a lot of times. So there's a lot of different influences, I think. And I'll let the other guys speak for themselves in terms of, I know they come from slightly different backgrounds.
I think Sean is working towards like a metal sort of style there too with his kids. So he's moving around there too. So I guess Sean, can you just mute your microphone real quick, and then Dean, talk about your influences.
Yeah. When I was a kid, we listened to everything from Kiss and Ozzy and Black Sabbath and stuff like that. Then when I got into more high school era, I got into more heavy music like Slayer and DRI and all that good punk rock, Bad Religion and stuff like that. And that's got me interested because it was, always driving a lot faster, always more energy, and it just grabbed me. And that's kind of like what I did for most of my drumming career. I played in metal and rock bands and I don't know, it's cool. It's different. And now we're playing some good old rock and roll and having fun and it all comes together. It's a little bit different tempo but it's all still fun and good times. So that's how we rock it.
Well, I'd say you're definitely blessed because a lot of the thrash and sort of heavy metal guys came out of California there too. So
right.
It's close to the home.
My favorite guy,
Yeah.
One of my big influences.
The grandfather or godfather of the double bass. That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, actually, that's right. And then Pete Sandoval was the godfather of the blast beat from Florida.
I was gonna say we had Nausea, and then they turned, Morbid Angel came out and all that. I was in hanging in East LA around that time, and it was just phenomenal. Just how fast that guy could play. Sandoval is just incredible. And yeah, it's just music is great, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw like a music, or actually no, it was live footage when they were doing Rapture too. I'm just seeing like his one foot just like jittering like crazy too. I'm thinking like, damn, he's doing something I would normally do with 2 feet. So
right.
I can understand.
Right.
All right. And Shaan, I guess who would you consider as your biggest influence?
So it is too many influences. Like, as far as guitar players and as a musician as a whole, I would say a lot of like British rock bands, English rock bands influenced me growing up because that's what we were exposed to going to school, and also a lot of American rock bands and as well. So, but seriously, since I moved to the United States, which is like about 16 years ago, so it was a different story. Like I got exposed to a lot of blues, like some real blues. Even though I was doing some British blues, I would call it. So once when I moved here, then a lot of players like Buddy Guy, BB King, and all of these great guitar players, like musicians, really influenced me. Also brought, I could really try to bring that kind of feelings and emotions. I started trying to do that instead of like going with, note by note. So this is where I am at right now, and I'm really enjoying it. That I am so exposed to a lot of different genres and kind of music. And if I would say like Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, like Buddy Guy, BB King, all of these, and also like Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead, all of these great bands and like people really influence me. Very good, and they're still like I'm learning a lot like from all of these great musicians. Yeah, I'm lucky.
As soon as you said Allman Brothers, I immediately thought of the song Jessica. I thought maybe he could try to play that for his wife.
This is what I'm talking. It is a great feeling to be here, like to be here in California and experience this amazing music scene. And yeah, I'm really loving it.
That's good to hear. And not to get off topic real quick, and Junior, I'll get to you in just a second here too, but Shaan, I guess, how bad was it trying to immigrate over to the United States? Was it a rough journey trying to get over here?
So it was because of my wife. So we met, in India. She was doing a program in India in Delhi University. So we had some mutual friends. That's how we met. And, after 3 years, we got married and I moved here. So, and then we both, like, she went to med school and she finished. And so that was the reason I moved to the United States. But for me, this is the best thing ever happened in my life, musically. Of course, I really need to say that here, because yeah, it was a big change, and it was like a great experience meeting, all of these musicians here. And also, I would say the Western music is not like highly accepted in, that part of the world. So even though once when I was performing, it was kind of like, oh, he's doing Western music, instead of like classical, like Carnatic or Hindustani music. But I was always like so excited to play guitar and play rock and roll, play blues. So moving here and migrating here, I would say, like, was the best thing ever happened in my life. This is truly a great place for music.
That's for sure. And welcome to America.
Thank you, man.
Nice. All right. And Junior, I guess, who would you say was your biggest influence in terms of taking up the bass, as well as guitar too? Because I know you mentioned you were a guitar player as well.
Yeah, so actually, the band that got me into rock music, I used to listen to rap, believe it or not, as a child. And when I was a teenager is when I heard Metallica. So that's what started me actually getting into rock music and wanting to play the guitar. It's like, I don't know how they do it. I still can't play Metallica, but I love their music, and I kind of branched out from there. I branched out to like Boston, Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is probably one I've listened to a heck of a lot. So bands like that. I do enjoy the bluesy stuff as well. So it's just, I bounced all over when it comes to styles of music, but most of all, I enjoy music where instruments are played. I'm mesmerized by playing instruments, and I'm mesmerized by watching them. So if there's an instrument, more than likely I'm enjoying it to some extent.
I want to say, was that Enter Sandman that kind of got you into Metallica?
That's one of them. Their Kill 'Em All album was just rocking too as well. So, but I listened to like a lot of their albums. So back in the day when I was still hunting for CDs.
I don't know. Do you dig like some of the newer stuff these days? Because I don't know. I think everyone would say like they reached their apex during the '80s. There, maybe you want to say the one with Enter Sandman, the Black Album.
Maybe I do like their older stuff. So, but who knows? I mean, music's for anybody. Maybe some people like their newer stuff, but I don't know. Everyone's different.
Amen to that. All right. So let's touch on the hard topic here about COVID here too. So, Shaan, I guess when COVID hit, I guess what sort of job were you doing, and I guess how bad did it impact you, your family, and music-wise?
Well, I'm fortunate in that, the work I do allowed me to transition to working from home, and I really haven't ever gone back. And, I'm actually sitting in the same place where I work every day right now, and in a spare room at our house. But, so COVID, we were very fortunate in my family. It didn't have a huge impact on us. It did give me an opportunity, I think, to step back and appreciate some things that I think we all take for granted. I think that's something that I think a lot of people learned from the COVID experience. And, one of the things that came out of that was this band, right? I started playing with Dean during COVID because we were friends prior to ever being in a band. And he had been with another band at a time, and that had kind of falling apart. And as COVID was sitting around, you couldn't go out and mingle with lots of people. So, Dean and a group of our friends here in IB were sort of our little pod. And so Dean and I could get together in his garage and start making music. And so we did that for about a year during the height of COVID. And it was when things started loosening up that, as Daniel pointed out earlier, we went to a local open mic, and the two of us decided to sort of testing out some of these songs. And during those first shows is when we met, Daniel, and we met Shaan, and they just sort of offered to sit in, and that's how it got started. They just sitting in at an open mic, Dean and I testing out some songs we've been working on.
That's pretty cool. I guess, did you have any brushes with COVID?
Oh, I had it a couple times, but I had been vaccinated and whatnot, so it was never really too bad. But yeah, I think at this point almost everybody's had it at least once, I feel like.
Something like that, yeah. I can definitely attest to that as well. So I would say, yeah, working from home was definitely the biggest plus that COVID did give us. So outside maybe saving money on gas. So
for sure,
there was that too. And I guess Dean, go ahead.
Yeah, it was pretty the same thing here. We just locked ourselves away, kept away from everyone, and I'd like to go fishing a lot, and then they would kind of like turn you away when you get to the fishing area, but you're by yourself. But what can you do? You just gotta wait till it all passes. But we got through it all right. No one here got really major sick. Just seemed like everyone had the cold, and we got over it and moved on. My wife started working from home. I started being here all the time as well. So, it's just what we had to do to get through. And now we can get back to normal, they say. And, yeah, just taking a stride, we got to jam, and that was the cool part of it, and this is what come out of it. So I'm happy. It was an experience.
Experience we only want to do once, and then that's it. So anyway, I guess wasn't California really strict with their COVID policies? I was gonna say, when do you start being able to jam?
Well, they were trying to keep it locked down for quite a while, it seemed like, but you can't stop people from doing what they want to do, I guess. So we felt we wanted to jam, and it was time, and then it was cool. Nothing bad came of it, and so we figured let's just keep going.
That's true. And one could try, but one's not going to be very successful in trying to keep everybody down. So
right.
It is funny when you mention about fishing too, because I could definitely see it with the white beard and everything too. So
old man in the sea.
Yep. It's like, I just want to be alone. Leave me alone. So,
yeah, and then
You
get to the launch ramp, and then there's a guy telling you, "Oh, you can't go out right now." But I'm alone. I'm by myself in my boat. But you just got to do what you got to do. Everybody's got a job to do, and then you don't want to make it hard for anyone else. So that's how I looked at it.
I'll say that's what my dad says. No drama. Life's too dramatic enough as it is. So
that's it.
All right. And Shaan, I guess how bad did COVID impact you, family and music wise?
Yeah, my family, it was a big impact, actually. My wife is in the medical field, so she works with a lot of COVID patients. And then we just had our first son. So he was only a year and a half old. So it was a really crazy time for us, especially just keeping my son at home. He wanted to go out and meet friends and play and stuff. So he's a COVID kid. So it was a really tough time for me. But at the same time, I try to stay positive, which, you really got to do it for many reasons, especially for your mental health. So I was keeping myself just listening to music. I listened so many songs and the music that I wanted to listen, and then just try to improve. I was just playing and playing and playing. As soon as my son he was asleep, I would just pick up my guitar and try to listen and try to see what people are doing and stuff like that. So it affected me both ways. But both Shaan and Dean said, you just gotta do your best. make the best out of the situation. And we did. And we went through it. And Izzy, my older son, he's doing great. He's doing great at school. And we were worried about his social skills, but it was pretty actually, turned out good. He started like, accepting the changes again, like once when the COVID passed away. So we did great, in fact. Thank you.
That's good to hear. I was actually going to ask about your son too, so it's good to see he's
Yeah.
doing well. I guess, did your kids, I guess, how old's your daughter first off, or you just have a son?
Yeah, I have two sons. So we are trying, to get like a 3-piece band, family band. Just kidding.
That way when he retires, he can just say, send me a check every once in a while.
Yeah. So I will have like, somebody to play with me, because both of them, they picked up the guitar and drums. So
Oh God, it's turning into a Dime and Vinnie Paul situation from Pantera. So,
yeah.
But I guess just real quick, I guess, how bad was it trying to like adjust for school wise? Because I know, I guess you were worried about his social skills. Did they have to do stuff online, like Skype, for instance?
Yeah, I mean, mostly what I would say, like for all of the kids, the parents that we were talking to, and they're also the same thing. It had like really, bad impact on their kids, their social skills, and the kids being at home and watching TV all the time kind of messed them up. So that's what I heard. So the same thing with Izzy. This is very social, very like outgoing guy. He likes to go talk to everybody, kind of stuff. So he survived and he's doing great, and we are happy that he kind of like got it together. Yeah.
That's good to hear. And Dan, I guess go ahead. How bad COVID impact you?
Well, lucky for me, I think it was maybe like 6 months before I actually quit my job. I saved up and kind of decided to start a midlife crisis early. And so I quit. I went to school for a little bit, and I decided also, like, if I want to make money, I can go do Uber or whatever. Those things were options. But I mean, for a while, I just took some time to myself, did some school, and kind of played guitar and bass at home a lot. And, so luckily, work-wise, it didn't really affect me too much. And luckily, I mean, maybe I caught it, maybe I didn't, but either way, everyone got more serious about if you're sick, stay away from other people, which was kind of frowned upon before COVID to be a little sick and not go to work still. So at least I'm happy that it kind of really made people serious about spreading sickness, COVID or otherwise. So luckily it didn't hit me too hard, in maybe ways that it hit everyone else. I got to say I'm lucky for that.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's good to see you all doing well they're here too. So it's good to have you guys along for the ride. So, and Dan, I know you mentioned about Uber driving too. And actually, there's a friend of mine at my second job that I worked at. He's long since left, but he was our head chef. He actually did take up Uber. Of all the people we got into his car the one day, it was when Testaments, Exodus, and Death Angel came to Pittsburgh, which is where I reside. And he got Dave Lombardo and Gary Holt in his car.
Wow, you never know.
He actually sent me a picture too, and I was like, I recognize Gary Holt. I recognize him. It took me a while to recognize Dave Lombardo, but yeah, I'm gonna say you're missing out on an Uber opportunity right there. You're giving us some ideas. So.
Yeah, personally, I don't like the people in the car thing, so I do the food delivery because you'd rather not see people, but at the same time, that's pretty cool.
Hey, you can't deny it. So yeah. I haven't spoken to him recently, but I hope he's doing well. So, all right. So, Shaan, for the next question right here, I guess, let's go ahead and talk about some of the gear you guys use too. So, I guess, Shaan, what you got?
I predominantly play an SG, and I play that through a PV Classic 50 with a handful of pedals. The one I use probably the most is a tube screamer, but that's pretty old school.
Gotta do what you gotta do. So fair enough. So, and I guess do you guys do the recording all in one specific location, or do you go to a studio somewhere?
Yeah, so Dean had worked in the past with a guy named Jeff Forrest at Double Time Recording Studio, which is in one of the suburbs of San Diego in El Cajon. And, Jeff is just a master. He's been doing, recording people for 30 plus years in town, and it really knows what he's doing. And, we were able to go out there, and we've got a record in the can. It's ready to go. We dropped a first single a couple weeks ago, and we're looking forward to dropping another one here next month, and we'll dribble out a couple more maybe, and then release late summer is I think the plan. And Jeff Forrest. If anybody's in San Diego and looking for someone to do a good recording job, talk to Jeff.
Yeah. That's good. I guess, Dean, if you want to elaborate on that story a little bit here too. But first, tell us, what gear do you use and how did you meet Jeff?
I use a Pearl BLX. It's an old school set. I've had it since 1988. It's got all the big power toms and the 24-inch kick and all that. I think I might start looking for something a little smaller, like a Gretsch Catalina or something like that, or I don't know. I want to change up the sounds a little bit, but right now I'm still happy with my old Canons, the big power toms and all that. But it started out with the big 10-piece set, but now I just play on 5, and it gets the job done still, and it's still holding up. But being here living by the beach, you kind of get the sea air, and it kind of takes its toll on the shiny part of the chrome and all that. So the pluses and the minuses. But as far as Jeff Forrest, I was in a band called Southtown Sham here in South San Diego, and we went and recorded with him. We found him in the paper, and it's one of the best things. The guy knows his stuff. He can hear things and make adjustments, and it's just a good feeling to know that someone can hold your baby in their arms and make it sound so good. That's all I can say. The guy is good at what he does.
That's good to hear. And actually, I think I remember an interview with Kerry King from Slayer that he was talking about. There was, instead of like nowadays where you get everything on your phone, I guess back then they had what was called the recycler,
right?
Which gave you like all those ads. Was it something similar to where you met Jeff, or did you meet him online?
Yeah, it was online. We were in the digital age by then. It was just a few years back, like pre-COVID, just barely right before COVID. So it was like 2018.
I guess when you also talk about the power toms, is it like those real big ones you see what Lars Ulrich had?
Oh yeah, that's it. It's the squared off toms, like 12 by 12, 13 by 13, 14 by 14, so forth, all the way to the 18, and then big giant Canon bass drums.
Yes, but that delivers the punch. That's all we need.
Yeah.
All right. And Shaan, go ahead.
Yeah, I use 2 guitars, like one Telecaster, like Performer series, with a split coil humbucker on it. And then I for recording, I mostly use my 339 Gibson. Yes, really phenomenal guitar. And then I use a Fillmore Boogie amp, the 25. So yeah, I could get like different tone, and I'm still like trying to find better tones all the time. So yeah, so right now I am like pretty satisfied with what I have. So I could make like different kind of tones and stuff, goes with different genres of music. So yeah, that's what I use, guys. Yes.
That's pretty cool. And I guess when you're doing solo wise, I guess do your solos, do you try any sort of finger picking, or are you just mainly using the pick the whole time when you're playing?
Yeah, I do both, but mostly like pick. I use a pick. It just gives me that, like, I can bang on the string and nothing happens to my fingers kind of stuff. Yeah, I like to do that. I go like, I abuse the guitar sometimes. So, yeah, pick is the best for me. But still, once whenever I, do like either acoustic session or like, something more like classical, I like to use my fingers too.
I would say music is the one where we're at least able to hit something too, because it's frowned upon in society too. So
Exactly.
I gotta say. And just last of you real quick, what's brand are your picks?
My pick?
Yeah, picks.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I never looked at the. Actually, this is the common one that you get from the Guitar Center. What is the name? I think Shaan knows it.
I
The name of it.
remember now. I think they're the yellow Dunlops. I think so.
Yeah.
I can't remember how thick they are, the exact millimeters,
They
but
were like
they're yellow Dunlops.
7.75, like 0.75 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I have it somewhere. Should be. But I know it works so well. And Sean likes it too, the thickness of my pick. He said it's kind of perfect. And it is the feeling, once whenever if something feels right, you stick with it.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. That's all you need. So
Yeah.
right. And Dan, what you got for your gear?
So I'm pretty simple. Since I played alone most of the time, I didn't have to have too much gear, and I couldn't have too much gear. I made some neighbors angry before because I lived upstairs. But for now, since I've joined the band, I got myself a Fender jazz bass. Keep it simple, American made, and I'm just playing through an Ampeg Rocket bass right now, and I have a tuner pedal. But so it's pretty simple for me, my setup. I haven't delved too much into the gear yet because again it's hard to do that in an apartment. So I only get to hear it really well when I actually play with these guys. So
Yeah, actually, what are you doing with the neighbors who were taking the broom handle and just start banging on the roof, telling you to shut up there?
they've come upstairs and just straight up knocked because I thought I was muffling it pretty well. Apparently I wasn't. So made some people angry. So I tried to cool it down on that.
And I guess are you doing more finger picking, or do you also play with a pick as well?
I play with my fingers. On the bass, I play with my fingers. I might delve into a pick at some point because we do play some fast stuff, some hard stuff, and it does have a different sound. So I've been playing around with that at home, but I haven't really brought it out yet to our jams. So, but it really has that hard hitting sound. So maybe in the future I might do it on a few of our harder songs.
All right, sounds good. And Dina, I want to come back to you real quick because I forgot to ask. So, what brand are your drumsticks?
I like the Vic Firth 7A.
I was going to elaborate a little bit more. Okay.
Oh, no, just basic. I like the longer sticks myself, the wooden tips. It gets the job done for me. I like the lighter stick on the hi-hat is nice for me.
All right, sounds good. All right. So for our next one right here, I guess let's go through the process, like how you guys create a song, for instance, too. So I guess, Shaan, if you want to fill in on this, I guess, what do you guys do when you're trying to create the song? Do you normally start with the lyrics and then the music, or vice versa?
I think most of the songs that we're playing are songs that I probably started at home, and my process is usually just to sort of just goof around, right, until I start finding something that I like, and lyrically, a lot of times it's just making up nonsense for a little while until you come across a line, something that sticks and you're like, ooh, I like that. And then that helps sort of, you can build around that foundation. That's usually how it works. And then once I've got, this isn't in all instances, but usually this is how it has worked with this band. You know, like once I've got something sort of formulated and pretty much complete, then I bring it in and say, what do you guys, how can we fit everybody else into this? And, you know, they add their bass parts, and Dean obviously comes up with, you know, the drums, and Shaan's got leads. So, you know, I kind of come with the core structure, and then these guys sort of fill it out and make it, you know, the magic that it is.
I guess this is also the same in terms of lyrical wise. I guess what inspires your lyrical content, Shaan?
Oh man, I think like a lot of artists and people who write music, you know, you borrow a little bit from what you know and the people you've met and the experiences you've had, and you mix it a little bit with a bit of fiction, right? Because no one wants to hear about me all the time, right? So like you mix a little bit of what you know and your experiences with sort of a bit of fiction, and try to write about things that people feel, you know, like hope and struggle and, you know, love and loss and all of those, you know, emotions.
I was actually curious because actually the way it was almost like those fantasy stories, or maybe a story that might actually delve into, like, say, a drug addiction, for instance, but it's more of a fictional story that kind of makes it relatable to real life. Is that sort of what you're trying to go for?
I don't know necessarily so much. I mean, I'm not sure I'm following your train there, Brian. I think that what I'm trying to do when I write songs is come up with things that, you know, are lyrical and poetic, and yet also convey a story and a feeling that people can relate to. And, you know, sometimes that might be about somebody struggling with, the next song we're going to release is something called Falling Down. And the first lyric is, you know, I'm drunk and lonely. You know, if only days like this could end. You know, so it's something that I think everybody's had at some point in their life, probably. And, you know, we just try to keep it real.
Yeah, actually, that's what I meant too. So sorry if I kind of went off on a different tangent there too, but that's all good. So, because I'm kind of the same way. I always like to do something like that too. Find something that's relatable to real life, and then convey like some sort of message behind it too. So I see what you mean. So I guess who handles the social media side? Has everybody got a hand in
it? This is, if you know someone who wants to do our social media, we're all in for letting somebody help, because I have to say we are not the best at it. You know, I struggle. I try to do the best I can by getting some things out there. Dean assists. You know, I think he's my co-admin on the social accounts and whatnot. But we all try to get the word out when we're playing shows. But yeah, that's definitely something that we could work on.
I guess for the audience, I guess what social media are you guys on? And I guess, is there something you hope to achieve with your social media? Be like an influencer in some sort of way?
You know, man, we're more interested in playing music and having a good time and getting out in front of people and trying to record some good things that people will want to listen to. And on the social media end, you know, we've got an Instagram, and we have a Facebook page, and we have our own website. It's birdskillbugs.com. You know, check it out. It's got the links to the socials, and, you know, I think there's some old YouTube videos. We have not kept up with that at all in recent days. So, you know, it's a lot. You know, I think one of the things that's hard about trying to do music today is that it's so much more than just doing the music, and there are so many different good bands out there, and there's so many savvy kids out there who really know how to use these things. And it is an important part, but, you know, we just do our best, and no grand hopes of being giant influencers. We just want to make cool music that people like to listen to.
All right. And actually, are you guys part of the Band Together group on Facebook?
I don't think so. We might be. It sounds.
It's the one with Christina and from Fox and Sticks. They were the one to put it together, and I think that's also where you'll find We Are Jack Strong.
Yeah. I have followed those guys, and certainly I think through Jack Strong and, you know, Greg and those guys, we have sort of been tapped into that community a little bit anyway. But again, like I said, we're not finding the time to do the social media is hard.
Yeah, especially when it's still up and coming, really. I mean, there's still a whole lot to like learn from it as well, and it's always evolving and changing in some sort of aspect. It seems
Exactly.
like these days Facebook kind of seems to take a little heat because I guess there was that. I want to say crash. I don't know if I don't want to say data link, but I don't know what happened. But something happened. Some people lost like their pages, for instance, and
Yeah,
it was weird.
social media is just a necessary evil, I think, in today's world.
It's a double-edged sword, as I think a lot of people compare it to. So, all right. So yeah, let's jump into this one right here. And actually, Dan, we'll start with you first, I guess. What challenges do you face being a musician these days?
Well, being new to a band is, like Shaan is saying, there's a lot more to a band than maybe you realize. The social media, for example, I've kind of let that go over the years. I've never been big on the social media thing, and I'm starting to lose my tech savviness. Even though I'm the youngest in the band, I struggle just as much with technology at this point as anyone else. So, I mean, being a musician, it's come to find out actually playing the music is a lot smaller of a percentage of the work you do as opposed to everything else. And I guess that's been a big challenge for me to catch on to, like, again, the social media and whatnot. And here I am like, well, let's just play. Let's practice. Let's play some songs. It's like, well, we have to let people know we're gonna. Like, oh yeah, huh? People just show up to where you are. You assume they just show up, but somebody has to tell them you're there. And I guess maybe you just don't realize that. And I didn't. So it's almost like you're running almost like a business, maybe. I mean, I guess that's what it is at some point. So yeah, it's been hard for me to adapt to the technological aspect of it and how much work goes on behind the scenes. So
Yeah. In some sort of aspects, yeah, it is like a business if you're like being fully committed to like playing in shows and playing in front of people and all that. So yeah, I see what you mean. And are you guys all close to the same neck of the woods? I wasn't sure if you guys were like so many miles apart because I know some bands who are like 3 or 4 hours apart.
Well, we're all in the same neighborhood.
Oh, same neighborhood. All right, that's good. All right, and Shaan, I guess go ahead. I guess what challenges have you faced? Because it seems like yours probably seems the more obvious one, but I guess go ahead. What challenges do you face?
Me, okay, yeah. It's been like really challenging to be a musician, like from the day one. So I don't want to go in details, but I can just like summarize it. Yeah. For me, it was mostly like social and family incorporation. But other than that, like always had the love for music, so I would just go on and on and on. And but the greatest thing about San Diego is so organic in the music scene, and people like Shaan, Dean, like all of these guys, like they really like help you. While you have all of those challenges out there, still you have a lot of support. So like you guys said, like talked about Greg and Chaz, the drummer from Jack Strong. So I know a lot of like local musicians. I work with them for like some cover band gigs and stuff. So I'm trying to be like completely like dedicate my life for music, but it is even doing that is very challenging. You won't be able to do that. So as much as I can. So with family responsibilities, kids and everything, it's pretty challenging to be a musician.
Yeah, I can understand why. All right. And Dean, I guess is yours also the obvious with lugging the drums around, sorry.
Yeah. Loading everything in and out of the car is always fun. But I think the biggest challenge is in in my I guess perspective is we're all grown men pretty much. We all have families and lives, and working schedules out together and trying to make sure, okay, you're working out of town this week and you got kid stuff this week. My kids got baseball games. We all got to try to find that one time where we can get together that week or this week or, that day. And that's the biggest challenge for me is just working together to get all our schedules together so that we can do this and be the best we can be for when we go to play for people. That I think that for me is the biggest challenge, but we're doing well and we're getting it done, and I'm having a great time at it, and that's about what it is.
Yeah, that's for sure. I guess, do you guys just sticking around San Diego, or have you gone a little different parts of California to maybe do any shows?
We're open. I'll play up in Northern California. We'll go to Las Vegas, go to Arizona. It don't matter to me if they want to hear. If they want us to come play, I'll come go play. It's as long as that goes back to the scheduling thing. As long as there's no family obligations that we got to take care of, we're game to go.
I think the biggest frustration these days is because when you want to try to go to a bar, for instance, they'll ask you how many streams do you have. It's not like how many people do you think you can bring in, which that one's really a downer. It's more like, can you bring in X amount of people? And
right.
That's what it should be. So
right.
And Shaan, let's close it all out. What challenges do you face?
I think these guys have hit on the key points. It really is, if you want to do music and do it sort of professionally, it's just you have to devote the time, and finding that time when you have other obligations is really hard. And you got to work your day job. You got to do, make money to pay the bills, to take care of your family, and making the time for music becomes difficult. And so we do the best we can. We're trying to build this thing slowly and organically by getting in front of people. We played a show last night. It was a pretty packed house, and it was fantastic because there were these other excellent local bands who brought people who hadn't seen us, and just those opportunities for exposure and to get new fans is really kind of where we're focusing right now, is to release this music, start getting it in front of people. And like you said, unfortunately, the reality of the world today is it's the number of streams you've got and the number of likes and followers, and that's a little bit unfortunate, and it's not really sort of the organic way that we would prefer to get in front of people. But it is, as you said, the double-edged sword, the necessary evil of the business these days.
Tragically, yeah. And I guess this kind of goes back to COVID a little bit too. But I guess, how has San Diego been since they've loosened up the COVID restrictions? Is it starting to bounce back?
Oh yeah, totally.
I guess what's a good spot to go and see shows, for instance, too? Was there a lot of big venues they had and where all the big stars had played? So I've never been to San Diego. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, there's the big giant amphitheater in Chula Vista that you can go to, and San Diego just built a couple years back a brand new state-of-the-art facility along the bayfront called the Rady Shell, and the symphony plays there, but they also bring in national acts. I think Dean was just out there. One of the cool things about that place is it's right on the water, so people will actually come in their boats. So Captain Dean can take his boat out and anchor short, just offshore, and watch Tool, or actually it wasn't Tool. Who was it? Who'd you see, Dean?
It was Primus and A Perfect Circle and Persifer. It was Maynard's birthday party.
Sorry, I don't know why I screwed that up.
Well, the guy is in a 3 bands, so I mean, you have A Perfect Circle, Tool, and then Pussifer. I thought that's what it was called.
Yeah, Pussifer, they're pretty good. They played some different music, and it was a cool show because all 3 bands played at the same time. There wasn't a set breakdown in between sets. It was Perfect Circle came out, played 3 songs, and then Persifer played, and Primus came, and it was just in order, and then they would keep switching out Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, and it was different, It
was one giant musical when you think about it too. So
yeah,
that's pretty interesting.
Maynard, it's like anything Maynard touches is pretty much gold, it seems like. So it was fun. And the venue is so great. Like I said, we just anchor the boat 100 yards from the shore, and it's clear. The sound is awesome, and it's free.
I have picked going to that venue several times, though, and it is. I've been on the boat with Dean for a couple shows, but I've been inside the venue, and being inside the venue is definitely better. But yeah, it's a great new state-of-the-art sort of facility in San Diego, and then we've got all of the local clubs too, right? I mean, you've got the Belly Up, and you've got Winston's and Ocean Beach, and you've got the Casbah, and you've got the Observatory. You've got a lot of places. I think San Diego gets a little overlooked sometimes because we're like the wicked stepchild to LA, which is only a couple hours away. So we get the Wednesday shows so that everybody can play Friday in LA.
Stuff like that, yeah. Actually, when Dean was talking about Mayor James Keener, it's almost like everything he touches turns to gold, except for fans who run on the stage trying to get a hug out of him too. So he always tackles, or he does something too. It's always physical, confrontational.
He was asking people to put their phones away, no cameras, no video, and it was an interesting night.
I would say I'm guilty of it, but only because I wanted to see that video later on and be like, that's where I was, child, or something like that too, if I wanted to show it to my kids. So,
right.
But I'm guilty of it too. I'm sorry. So, but it's for the memories. It's for the memories. I have an excuse. So let's see. So I talked earlier about the social media that you guys are on here too. And Dan, here, you could go first. For those musicians on social media or up-and-coming musicians in your neck of the woods, what advice would you give to them as they try to at least make some sort of career out of it?
I'd say get ready to spend some time, especially if you're not savvy with social media. Maybe get good at it, which is something I lacked on. But get ready to work hard and get ready to promote yourself and all that good stuff, as opposed to just playing and hoping people magically show up. Even though they don't know you're there. So get good at the technological stuff is what I would say, because that's definitely where I'm struggling.
Be like, I'm living proof of that. That's what you got to tell them too. So.
Oh, I am. Age doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Young or old. So, but get good at it. That's what I would say.
Okay. And Shaan?
What I would say is as long you have the true love for music, any obstacles could be removed. But yeah, I would say keep loving playing music, and get as much help as you can. If there is help that you can improve on, and if there are help you can actually easily get without spending too much money, get it. Don't try to do all of the the social media stuff and everything together. Means while you're trying to improve your music, while you're trying to get to a different level of music. So it is a little bit of everything. Just like Daniel said, just work hard. And mainly what I would say, keep the love for music. That will really help you, go over everything. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Keep it strong in here, as I like to say.
Yes, exactly.
All right. And Dean?
I say put in your time. Put in your time, and then put in some more time. Stay on your instrument, love it, make friends, meeting someone tonight, you never know, next week they're going to be giving you shows, or they're going to be, a new member of your band. Don't be snooty, take it in stride. Not everyone's going to like what you do. So don't get down when someone says, oh, I didn't like that or whatever. Stay positive and keep working hard at what you're doing. Time will tell, and like I said, just keep putting in the time. That's all, on whatever the craft is, even, singing, painting, whatever. Just put in your time, and you'll get your results. That's what I could say.
It sounds like make friends and then also make enemies as well, whenever you think about it.
Yeah, but you just got to let them know that you're not their enemy. You just got to make sure you shake hands, smile, because today's upset could be tomorrow's, opportunity. You never know. So you can't burn bridges until you're on the other side.
That's true. So fair enough. All right. And Shaan?
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time giving people advice on music because I feel like, we can all learn from other people. And that would be my piece of advice is keep an open mind. And as Dean said, try to make friends and be open to the opportunities that come your way. And, work hard. That's all there is to it. No one gets snatched up and makes $1 million because somebody just randomly walked into a bar and saw you play. You know what I mean? That just doesn't happen in the world today. You need to work at it. And unless you're willing to work at it, you're probably never going to get anywhere.
I'd say you probably have a better chance of getting the opposite sort of reaction and be like, do not sign this band. It's like maybe those people would just stand like, what the fuck is this going on here? So, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I can understand too. So, fair enough for advice. And this one I'm actually going to throw in real quick. But first off, who designed the band logo? I guess, was that AI or did you draw it all out?
Well, so actually, there's a font. Junior found the font, right? And it's a font that actually is a call out to our hometown here. There's something they call Surfhenge down by the pier. And on top of that is the lettering for Imperial Beach. And it's this pretty cool font. And Junior was able to find out what the heck that font was called. And we used that, and then using, Canva, professional Canva and whatnot, we were able to sort of bring the crow in on top of the lettering. But yeah, it's always a work in progress. Who knows? We'll use that one for a while, and another one might come along one day. But yeah, no, we just made it. It's not AI.
That's good. And I guess what's your opinion of the AI art that seems to start dominating now?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's unbelievable, the technology and the ability that those tools give bands and other creative people. But I'm more of an organic type. I like when people actually make it themselves. I've never been one for, I like bands where people play their instruments. You know what I mean? And just same thing with the art. I'd rather have someone actually create it than use some sort of program to generate it for them.
Yeah, because I was hearing it on the radio a couple of times, mainly because I listen to Liquid Metal, which plays mostly your metal music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they seemed a little upset because there was this group that's been out since the 90s. It was the Deicide. And they started using AI for their newest album that's coming out here pretty soon. So that's actually a question I left out in one of my videos because I do what's called the McGriff Show, where I help promote music nowadays. It used to be a Q&A and some other stuff, but now I'm helping indie musicians out, kind of like a little radio station. So I put that question in there. So I guess any of you guys have any opinions about AI? Shaan, Dan, Dean?
I've tried playing around with it a little bit just to try it, and I don't know. It is what it is. Like Shaan said, I kind of do like the more organic stuff now. Now that I played with the AI, it's a little wonky, and I guess it's not really your own creation. So I don't know. I think like our logo, just something small, like finding the font on Surfhenge at the beach, I think was a good creative choice, as opposed to hoping AI spits something out at you that you like. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Actually, when you said surf, a hedge right there, I was thinking surf Nicaragua. from it was one of the groups back in the day. Yeah, and let's think of something along those lines too. Surf San Diego. That's what we gotta call it next. So that's all cool. All right. So Shaan, Dean, Shan, and Dan, we're now down to the fun questions right now. Then we got one more afterwards. So I guess y'all ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
We probably have to do thumbs up. Everyone was muted there. Okay. So we're all good. All right. So Shaan, here, you can go first. Tell us, what is your favorite food?
Oh man, I'd probably say Mexican food.
Is there a particular one, like quesadillas, tortillas, and
tacos of any style and variety? I think in Southern California we get the best fish tacos around, so that's a staple for me. I actually lived in India for a few months myself as a young guy, and I love Indian food as well. But I think Mexican tacos take the top for me.
What were you doing in India? Were you doing like some sort of mission work or something for your job?
Yeah, it was a study abroad thing. I was studying Rajasthani culture in Hindi.
Was that where you met our handsome devil over there?
No, this was many years before. I met Shaan only a couple years ago, but yeah, he's also from southern India, and I was in the northern part.
All right, that's pretty cool. It was worth a try. I thought it would be like one of those sort of funny stories. Hey, we just ran into each other, then
that'd
be cool. Okay. I guess, Dean, what would you say is your favorite food?
Oh boy, anything that tastes good. I'm gonna go on the same bandwagon. We got, we're a stone throw from the border here, and we got some of the best Mexican food in the world just right here. I think you can't beat a good carne asada burrito or a good chicken burrito. The fish, like Shaan was saying, is just incredibly fresh here. We're all on the coast, so you can't get a fresher fish taco most of the time here, and it's true California eating.
I'm saying whenever you're saying food that tastes good, it's like, can you be more specific? So I mean, you got a whole lot of that.
Yeah, I like all foods. I like a good shawarma. I like a good salad's even good. I like an avocado on anything. I'm Californian.
I'll eat what you throw on my plate. So
there it is. I'm a big guy, and not a lot goes by me.
Fair enough. Okay. And Shan?
So yeah, my favorite food is always Indian food, but like Mexican food is another thing. So I love Mexican food. I love birria, mole, like all like traditional Mexican food. So once when I go to Mexico, this is my thing. I will ask around people, whoever I could ask, like where I can find the best birria. And I love like Mexican, the mercados. I love the mercado. So you can just walk in, and then they have like stalls all over, and you can try. Somebody will be selling the best pozole, and then you will try that one, and then you move to the next place where they be selling like mole. So basically, like I love like Indian and Mexican food, any good food, like Dean said, but Indian and Mexican food is at the top for me.
Because how far are you guys from the Mexican border?
Yeah, of course, that is one thing. Also, like traveling to Mexico like every year, and I like to go to the rural areas like villages and stuff, and it gets really good there, man. The food is the best. Yeah.
I think we're only like 2 miles as the crow flies from the border.
Yeah. It is, but the thing is, like what I realize in Mexico, like talking about Mexican food, every state has different kind of flavor and taste and the way of making it. So I had some tacos in Tijuana, and I was not really happy about it. And then I had like I always love the tacos from Santana, like in. And I would tell like everybody, dude, the tacos in Santana is way better than even Tijuana tacos. And then I went to Guanajuato City, and they had the best like birria, and that's the place famous for birria. So it is always for me like you gotta have it at the right place because I just love food. I can taste the different ingredients and taste. I cook a lot, so yeah, Mexican and Indian food at the top, man. You cannot beat it.
I think if we were to take a survey about like what people would say are the best foods, like they brought it into the States from like getting around the world too. I think most people would say thank God for the Italians, the Mexicans, and to a certain extent the Chinese. Whenever you think about it, so let's do it. Right. And Dan?
I think Chinese food is good. But mostly like people are not really exposed to Indian food. Like in South, it's very different. The Indian food in South is like really different, not too spicy. And so yeah, I love India. I think India is the best place to be vegetarian because they do have like really delicious like vegetarian dishes too. So yeah, you're right. Like Mexican, Italian, Chinese at the top. But I will put Indian food up there too. If you're having the if you have the right kind of food. Yeah.
We'll put it in the top 5. We'll be respectable. So
Thank you.
no worries.
Yeah.
And Dan?
Yeah, man. You can't really beat a cow. Whether it be hamburgers or a steak. I mean, cows are just freaking delicious, man. in all aspects. Carne asada, all that stuff. Like a good steak. I mean, we have there's a place over here that's been here forever. It's called La Posta Market, and they got the butcher area. And like, growing up, my stepdad, he went to chef school, but he never worked as a chef. And so he was always cooking like steaks and like handmade hamburgers and things like that. And I still can't beat them. But, along with, I got Don Pancho's up the street as well. I'm a sucker for their California burritos. So, anything made of cow, mostly, I'm all in.
We got to shove the steak into a quesadilla, then he'll totally buy it then. So we'll see why.
A steak quesadilla, nothing wrong with that either.
No, but at least it's 2 birds, 1 stone in his case. So
yeah.
Okay. Shaan, back to you. I guess what would you consider as your favorite movie?
I love the movie Almost Famous. I think that's just a great, rock and roll story, and just done so well. On the other hand, I watch Elf every year. I think that's the best holiday movie ever.
All right. And Dean?
Oh boy. Of all time or just recent?
If you want to say recent, I don't know if you want to maybe list one of each, maybe go ahead.
All right. Well, I guess being the kid in the late 70s, Star Wars was the thing when I was a kid. And then now I'm really digging the Equalizer trilogy with Denzel. I really like that story. But stuff like that, I like the make you think movies, like the mystery suspense and stuff like that, suspense thrillers. That's what I'm into.
So you said Equalizer, the song immediately popped in my head. Like everybody was kung fu fighting. So, anyway, yeah, my dad, he started to dig Equalizer as well too. I think he actually saw John Wick as well too, even though I think the first John Wick was probably the only thing he needed to watch, since 2, 3, maybe 4 were just all kung fu fighting and shooting people, that sort of thing.
I like the first one, John Wick 1. That was a good one.
Yeah. Okay. And Shaan?
I don't know. I may have to say some Bollywood movies names. No, my favorite. I have a lot of favorite movies, so I cannot pick one. If I have to, then I will pick Titanic. I don't know, for some reason. I love that movie. Yeah, so I would pick Titanic. Oh yeah.
He gets hooked on the James Cameron sort of movies too, so I wonder what his opinion was of Avatar when that came out.
Yeah, it was like means everybody fell in love with like with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, of course. But the movie, it was with a lot of drama on the side, kind of like, which really attracts a lot of Indian crowd. They should have had like some kind of like songs in between too, maybe that would have worked better. But yeah, it was a blast in India. Like, people just loved the movie because with that love story behind the actual the incident, the history. So that was perfect, and that's like a good masala movie for India. So it was widely well accepted movie, and that was one of the movies, like, I went alone as a kid and watched it myself a few times at the theater. So that was a blast.
All right. And Junior?
Well, it's hard to pick one, but if I had to pick one, I'd say maybe Pulp Fiction. I could just watch that movie over and over. It'd be hard to show, but I got some metal things on my walls of when they're dancing, in the dancing scene. That movie's just awesome, along with Dumb and Dumber as well. Another movie I could just watch over and over. Very different movies, but they're both awesome in their own ways.
You said you had that little poster with John Travolta and Uma Thurman dancing during that one scene? Because I got it too, actually. He's still muted. Oh, that's what he's doing.
Oh yeah, I got these are in my living room.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I had the poster. It's all framed and everything too. It has them just doing the one dance move. That's all it was. So.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, good choice for Pulp Fiction too. And that took place in L.A., right? Was that where the setting was?
I think if not all of it, most of it.
Something like that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So Shaan here for the next one. What would you consider as your favorite alcoholic drink and non-alcoholic drink?
Well, it's still sort of earlier here, so I'm drinking coffee still. But come this evening, I'll probably crack a beer. That's
particular one.
I like them all, but I think my old standby is Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
All right. And Dean?
I'll probably pouring a Jameson and ginger in a little bit. It's afternoon. I'm behind. So yeah, I'll have Jameson and ginger most of my time, or vodka 7-Up. Non-alcoholic, you can't beat a glass of cold water.
Sosa?
That's it. I don't like the sugar stuff. I'm not too much into the sugary sodas and stuff.
Yeah. You probably were back in the day. Probably more so the Cokes and all that stuff.
Yeah. But Pepsi was the thing back when I was a kid.
Same thing. All right.
Yeah. Sugar on sugar.
Basically, yeah. All right. Shaan?
It's coffee and then beer. Any sort of beer. I love beer. I'm a beer drinker and coffee drinker. So yeah, I do have like a small coffee machine. I worked as a barista. At one of my first jobs. So I still like making coffee. So coffee and beer. I don't know to brew, but I will learn. Going to brewing beers too. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. And Dan, close it out.
Yeah, well, I like a good IPA. I'm usually not too picky. Oddly enough, typically if it's over 7%, it's good to me. So, I like a good strong IPA, on tap at the bar, here at the house. And non-alcoholic, I like coffee as well, along with, anything with a lot of caffeine, maybe. Whether coffee or a Red Bull, or I got some B8 energy drinks that I'm probably going to drink soon to get up. But yeah, can't beat a good IPA as well.
We give this guy all the sugar. Is that what we do?
I do like sugar.
I keep picturing the whole favorite family guy every time I hear Red Bull. I don't know if you saw that episode where Peter drinks a lot of Red Bull and he's just like beyond a Mexican jumping bean in this case too. So
Oh man.
I recommend you check it out too. I can't really imitate the voices too well, so I'll leave that up to you guys. So all great choices. And for the last fun questions here, Shaan, I guess what would you consider is currently your favorite song or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
Oh man, I actually have had this song sort of earwormed into my head lately. It's called Modesto. It's a release from a band called oh god, now I'm forgetting because I just learned about this band. There's a local DJ who plays sort of new release music, and I was listening. We were actually on his show the other day with our new single, and the show before that he hosts is some larger bands, and I think it's man, it's killing me.
Got to look up the phone.
It's a Pedro the Lion. Thank you, Pedro the Lion. Song is Modesto. It's fantastic. You should check it out.
All right, sounds good. I'll make sure to check it out there too, though. I think it's another extension to my long list of things I got to check out. So that's the thing too. Everybody tells you like check it out every once in a while, and it's like, dude, I got 2 jobs to work with here, so and podcasting. So
exactly.
I'll try to get to it. So I'll hold you to it. All right, and Dean.
Oh boy, I just got a random mix on my Spotify that I just play lately. It's got everything from Cranberries to Slayer on it and everything in between. I think this latest Cranberries record that came out has got my attention right now. They made it right before Dolores killed herself, and I kind of dig it. It's got some real nice songs on it. It's mellow, and that's probably what I'm listening to right now. Some Cranberries and digging it. Too bad they couldn't keep going, but everyone's got their issues.
I guess so. Yeah, that I just listened to Zombie one too many times. So sadly,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should rest in peace.
Yeah.
So, right. And Shaan?
Yeah, you should like my favorite song at the moment is a song by Birds Kill Bugs. It's out, available on our platform, which is Mexico. You guys should listen to it. It's a great song. That's my favorite song.
Nice
So,
one.
yeah. What? Yeah, you guys should totally listen to this band. They're great, especially the guitar player. Yeah, means I love, I have so many favorite songs and I love them for different reasons. And so I cannot pick one, but if you want me to, like, I like the song written by Steve Winwood, Can't Find My Way Home. I just like the progression and the feel of the song, and and also I listened to that song live the very first time, and straight away like that took me to a different like dimension. Right there, I'm like, dude, this song is great. Yeah, so if I have to pick a song, I would pick that song. But there are so many songs that I love, and one of the best one is Mexico. Yeah, that'd be it. Thanks, man.
I was saying instead of like just getting high off of weed, for instance, too, you could just listen to that music, just have them take to psychedelic sort of experience in a way.
Yeah. So yeah, so much of good music out there. So it's so hard to pick one. It is impossible. Every day there are like tons of great musicians in San Diego. Like they're making music, and I'm listening to it. And it blew my mind. Every day once I listen to something new, I'm like, dude, this is crazy. So, but which is very good, that you get influenced by like these people, seeing them playing, and which is great. That's what I love about being here in San Diego. Yeah.
That's for sure too. All right, and Dan, go ahead and close it out.
Yeah, man, that's hard. But I had to pick something, I mean, it'd probably be something by Pink Floyd. I mean, I love so many of their songs. Their Animals album was just blew me away when I heard it. All of the songs on that album are just killer, man. Along with even like Echoes, like that Echoes tripped me out the first time I heard it. It's such a long song, such a weird song, but or even Comfortably Numb, like Off the Wall. And when I first heard it live, back in the day when I finally looked up Pink Floyd online and I actually saw it live, I was like, holy shit. Like David Gilmour is just something else, man. So I mean that's really what's kept me going a lot too. Is like David Gilmour, he kicks ass, man. So, but yeah, Bird Skill Bugs is pretty good too. If Shaan didn't already say so.
Yeah, especially that Indian-looking guitar player we were talking about earlier. So
yeah, he's pretty good.
I don't know, but man, he's got to work on his looks right there too. So those good choices, yeah. Actually, as soon as you were saying Pink Floyd, the song that always comes to mind was "Money," because I was actually in Italy at the one time, and they were actually doing a cover of it. It was actually a woman singing it. I think it was more a softer version, but whatever it was still pretty bad.
Good song.
It's a good song, yeah. Plus, too, you would also get along with a friend of mine who always wore a Pink Floyd shirt. It was always the same shirt every day. It was always Dark Side of the Moon, too. He always wore it. That was always that. Dude, did you ever wash that shirt? He said maybe. So I'm not too sure. So that missed him, too. So that's good to see. You guys made some good choices right there, too. So, all right. So Shaan, Dean, Shaan, and Daniel, we are down to one more question. Before we jump into it, did you guys have any questions for me or any final words you want to say before we jump into it?
Well, I just want to thank you, Bryan, for having us on your show and giving us the opportunity to sort of chat with you. It's been a pleasure. I think, as you've listened, one of the great things that about this band is the sort of diverse backgrounds that everybody brings. You can hear the difference. You got Shaan, he's a blues guy. You've got Dean, he's a metal and punk rock guy. And, Junior's into Pink Floyd, right? And so it's the amalgamation of all of those influences, I think, really brings something interesting to the table. And we just appreciate so much the opportunity to let us talk about it.
No worries. It's good to see you guys put all four together right there to make Birds Kill Bugs. I'll make sure I pronounce it right there, too. Actually, funny enough, I had it right there the whole time. Birds Kill Bugs. There we go. So I apologize I said it wrong earlier there, too. Just shows you I was kind of off this day.
People always wanted to say it's birds eat bugs, but, we just went straight with kill. We're not going to sugarcoat it.
People think, oh, you a metal band.
Yeah.
That's you. All right. So I guess everybody all good? I want to make sure. Did anybody have any questions or anything else they want to add?
You're good.
Yeah, man. Thank you, though.
Yeah, I got to say thanks. Thank you so much for having us.
No worries. We got one more question right here, and Shaan, you can go first. So, given what COVID has done, obviously it seems like you guys have been blessed in some sort of way, and some people not so much, or whatever it was, COVID or whatever it was that kind of impacted their lives in a negative way. What sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in the post-COVID world?
That's a really interesting question, Bryan. I think you just take it day by day, and it's when we focus on the past and when we focus too much on the future that we lose sight of the present moment. When everything that we ever need is right here at this time, and if you can just learn to appreciate it, I think you'll be a happier and a more grateful person for what you have.
All right, and Dean?
Yeah, it's the same. Just don't give up. Find your goal, set your goal, and work towards it. There's setbacks. You're gonna take a couple steps back, but then you're gonna go forward again, and make sure you stay on your plan and keep your thoughts positive and keep moving forward. That's what I got. Thanks for having us.
No worries. And Shaan?
Yeah, but I would say it's like, things can be, changed, and we just, try to adapt the situations and try to do your best according to the situation. That's the way how I go. And also, I totally agree with what Shaan said. Is like, try to live in the present and actually try to really enjoy whatever you have right in front of you, around you. So, then you will see the real sunlight and enjoy it and enjoy the flowers once when you go for a walk, kind of stuff. Being able to enjoy it, you gotta be at the right mindset to really, like, don't think too much about anything and try to adapt this. If you can change the situation and if you don't like it, that's good. But if you have no control over it, just try to adapt it and do your best. That's what I would say. And thank you for having us.
No worries. And make sure you get out and smell those roses there. So it's all good. All right. And Dan, go ahead and close it out.
Yeah, man. I would say just, I guess first and foremost, post-COVID world, really try to take care of your health, maybe a little bit. Maybe we all learned a little bit from that time, realizing you're more vulnerable to things than you might have realized. So really just take care of your health and remember why you're doing the music to begin with. I mean, just like maybe any other hobby, it's one of those things that hopefully you always enjoy doing it, regardless. You're doing it because you like it. You're not, I mean, if you're in it for the money, maybe that's going to be a rude awakening. And, but just remember why you do it. You play music because you want to see people happy. You want people to bob their heads. You want people to be interested in what you're doing. And it's hard. It's a slow grind. You're probably not going to get rich and famous, like they mentioned earlier, by somebody walking into a bar and signing you. It's a slow grind. And if you want to get up there, you just have to keep going, and then keep going some more. That's what I would say.
Spoke like a bunch of true prodigies, as they would say from Pulp Fiction. Dan knows what I'm talking about. So, all right. So, Shaan, Shaan, Dean, and Dan, we've reached the end of my podcast right here. And boy, oh boy, did we talk for a good bit right there. Outside maybe the first few minutes because we were waiting on Dan to join, but it's all good there too. So I guess, do you guys have any final words, any shout-outs you want to say before we close?
Well, I can give a shout out real quick to our man Greg from We Are Jack Strong for popping our names over to you, Bryan, and a big thank you to you again for having us on the show. Big thanks to Jeff Forrest, who's recorded our upcoming album. And for those who haven't checked us out, please do so. We're on the socials at birdskillbugs.com. You can find it all there, and we look forward to hopefully playing for you someday.
I guess just for the audience sake, can you just list the social media and streaming platforms you're on?
Yeah, so we should be on all the streaming platforms, since you'll be able to find Mexico on all of those. You can link to our Facebook and our Instagram pages from our website at birdskillbugs.com. I believe it's just birdskillbugs, on Facebook, and I think it's birds_kill_bugs on Insta. But we're on all those things, and it shouldn't be too hard to find it if you just search up birdskillbugs.
All right, sounds good. And if we're all good right here, we'll just say it right here. Everybody, my guests today were Shaan, Dean, Shaan, and Daniel. They're part of the band Birds Kill Bugs. They hail from California. So make sure you go check out their music on the socials and streaming platforms. Let's go help some brothers out right there. These guys are doing wonders out in the world, and hopefully they start doing a lot more touring in and around the state of California if it doesn't break away and goes to hang out with Hawaii afterwards. So we'll see what happens. But I want to thank you guys so much again for coming on right here. You all stay safe.
Yeah. Thanks, Bryan.
Stay tuned, y'all.